consequences of what is effectively an open borders policy.
They're handing their kids off to these smugglers and sending them on this incredibly dangerous trip all the way through Mexico.
These are kids under 10.
These are children where parents are just saying, go.
The conditions are terrible, and it is a humanitarian crisis.
Thousands and thousands of immigrant children making a perilous journey alone. Their parents are sending them from Central America across the border into the United States. This crisis has absolutely no end in sight. Are there any solutions? Joining us, Charles Krauthammer, author of the book Things That Matter, that's still on the New York Times bestseller list. Charles, do you have any solution for this border crisis?
Stop people from crossing.
Okay.
This is what historically has been done for, about 3,000 years. People put up fences or walls, and they patrol. You're not going to shoot anybody. These are children. But it is very clear why this is happening. The administration, we just heard today, the Homeland Security Secretary said, the cause of this is poverty and violence. Tell me when in the history of Central America you haven't had both. That's a constant.
So what's the invitation now?
The invitation now is the word has gotten out because of the DREAM Act, because of the unilateral, and I would say lawless, change in the law by the executive. The executive is not supposed to change the law.
You mean President Obama?
President Obama is changing laws that were written by Congress. Congress had a chance to enact the DREAM Act, which would allow people who came here as children to enjoy the fruits of American residency, at least, perhaps citizenship, and it rejected it. And Obama has essentially enacted it by executive order by telling ICE, the Immigration Service, not to enforce that law. It's as if a Republican who opposed the capital gains tax couldn't get the Congress to oppose it and orders the IRS not to collect capital gains.
All right, so
it is an outrage, and the word got out.
All right, so Congress doesn't do anything to stop the president. If you say the president's violating the law, we've got it's an economic crisis, humanitarian crisis. It's probably going to be a health crisis, and now we have all these children who don't have parents.
There's only one way to do this. This is a deliberate. Look, if I were a parent of these kids in Guatemala, I would also try to smuggle them in, because I know the word is already out with this administration. If you get them in, they will stay in, they will live in America, and then the parents and others will follow. The only way to do it is to let people know in Central America. And this is a cruel, dangerous thing that is happening, to entrust a child to a coyote, to bring them all the way through to Mexico. You stop them at the border, and you start sending them back in a humane way. You're not going to just, say, walk through Mexico.
Just going to send an 8-year-old kid back?
Well, you're going to have people with them. I don't care if you have to have nurses and doctors and counselors, but when the buses start returning and return the children to the parents, the word will be out that it's not working. I guarantee you that the wave will stop.
All right, let me turn quickly to Iraq. President says 300 advisors. Good idea, bad idea, indifferent, or what?
What he's doing is he's preparing the ground with the advisors, and the most important element is intelligence, to use our air assets if there's an emergency. If the bad guys start heading into Baghdad, heading for the green zone, our embassy, then he'll have the intelligence, he'll have the targets.
So you support this?
It's a minimal step. He's not engaging us, not going to make any difference now. It's a contingent step to have us ready in an emergency. But the most important stuff is behind the scenes. The most important stuff is that there's a new parliament, and Maliki won only a minority of the seats. He can easily be replaced. A new parliament has to choose a new government. We are working with Sunnis, with Kurds, and even with radical Shiites to get Maliki out, because he cannot govern. He's shown it, he's sectarian, and he's alienated the Sunnis. That's the most important element, as the president himself has said. You have to change the politics, and then you can change the situation on the ground.
Charles, thank you.